in reference to the Shiv Sutras on Guru-disciple relationship, is Uma Devi, is she the perfect listener and the perfect disciple?
She is perfect disciple because she is already become enlightened. She is the perfect disciple because she has already become enlightened. She is the part of Shiva. It's like a Shiva speaking to himself. He doesn't have to edit. When you speak to yourself, do you edit? No. When you speak to others, you have to be polite. Edit. Culturally decent, socially polite, and all those things. And you can't express the truth as it is. So when Shiva speaks to Uma, she is just speaking to himself. She is totally in tune. She is in love with Shiva. It is not even what he says, it is he who is important for her. That is why he is able to totally open up and say whatever he wants to say. She has already reached the consciousness of Shiva. She is one with him. That is why she is considered as a perfect listener and perfect disciple. She is perfect disciple because she is already a guru. Only a guru is a perfect disciple. And disciple is not a perfect guru. Please be very clear. Guru is a perfect disciple, but disciple is not a perfect guru. It is not vice versa. There cannot be vice versa in this. Next.
I mean, this question has come, though I think you have answered it. How a disciple should be? Please clarify.
Let him be as he is. That much only he can do. He can't do anything else. Other things only I can do. So whatever now I say, he should be like this, he should be like that, he will have only one more problem. You see, if I don't give any rules, why do you think usually I never give meditation techniques for people when they come? See, they come with the 10 problem. If I give meditation techniques, they will have 11th problem that they are not able to do meditation technique. Next time after 1 month, they will come to me with the 11th problem. Swami, now I have 11 problems. What is the 11th problem? I am not able to meditate. So these fools, whatever I say, disciple should be like this, like that, they will create only one more problem out of that instruction. They will not do it. If you are so intelligent enough to do it, you will not be a disciple. So be very clear, you don't have to do anything. Just be as you are. It is my headache. Anyhow, I will take care. I will manage the scene. Only when I do, don't resist and relax. When I do something on you, don't resist and torture me. Resisting means you suffering. If you don't suffer and relax, I will be very happy and do the process. Otherwise, what can be done? That's all. Next.
Complicated. ஒரு உண்மையான குரு தன் சிஷ்யனின் ஐயங்களை தீர்ப்பதுடன் அவருடைய வாழ்க்கைக்கு தேவையான அனைத்துமே அவரால் அறிவிக்கப்படுகிறது என்பதை உணர்ந்தும் சில நேரங்களில் மயக்கத்தில் ஆழ்ந்து குழப்புவது எதனால்? குருவை தான் முழுமையாக நம்புவதை பற்றி தயவு செய்து விளக்குவோம்.
ஒரு உண்மையான குரு சீடனுடைய இளபர சிவத்தை கொடுக்கறது மட்டும் இல்லாம இந்த டவுட்டையும் போக்கி ஆகணும். போக்கினாத்தான் உண்மையான குரு. அந்த டவுட்டை போக்குறதுக்கும் அவர் ஒர்க் பண்ணி ஆகணும். இந்த டவுட் இருக்குனாலே உங்களுடைய குரு உண்மையான குருன்னு அர்த்தம். இந்த யாரு இந்த கேள்வி கேட்டீங்களோ அவர் என்னுடைய சிஷ்யன் இருந்தா என் சைட்ல ப்ராப்ளம் அர்த்தம், உங்க சைட்ல ப்ராப்ளம் இல்லை. நல்லா தெரிஞ்சுக்கோங்க. இந்த கேள்வி கேட்டவங்க குருன்ற வார்த்தையை என்ன சொல்றீங்கன்னா என் மேல ப்ராப்ளம், என் சைட்ல ப்ராப்ளம், உங்க சைட்ல ப்ராப்ளம் இல்லை. அது நான் தான் ஒர்க் பண்ணி ஆகணும். உண்மையான குரு உங்களுக்கு அந்த என்ன தேவையானதெல்லாம் கொடுப்பாருன்ற ஒரு நம்பிக்கை கொடுக்கறது மட்டும் இல்லாம மிச்சம் மீது இருக்கிற டவுட்டையும் தீர்த்தாகணும். அதை கம்ப்ளீட்டா தீர்த்து வச்சா மட்டும்தான் அவர் உண்மையான குரு. அது வரைக்கும் அவரை உண்மையான குருன்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. அதனால இந்த டவுட் இருக்கு அப்படின்னாலே நீங்க என்ன உண்மையான குருன்னு முடிவு பண்ண முடியாது. நீங்க வெயிட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க வேண்டியதுதான். என்னைக்கு இந்த டவுட் போதும் அப்ப மட்டும்தான் நான் குருவாகியான்றதே உங்களுக்கு தெரிய ஆரம்பிக்கும். அதனால வேற வழியே இல்லை. அடுத்த கொஸ்டின், 2வது கொஸ்டின் அழகான கேள்வி. குருவை எப்படி நம்புறது? அதுக்கு ஏதாவது வழி சொல்லுங்க அப்படின்னு. என்ன பண்ணுங்க, சந்தேகம் வரும்போதெல்லாம் எனக்கு நம்பிக்கை கொடுத்தது நீங்க தான், சந்தேகத்தை கொடுத்தது நீங்க தான். ரெண்டையும் நீங்களே வச்சுக்கோங்க, ரெண்டையும் சரண்டர் பண்ணிடுங்க. இந்த சந்தேகம் நம்பிக்கை ரெண்டையும் நீங்களே வச்சுக்கோங்க, சரண்டர் பண்ணிடுங்க. தானா சரியா போகும். நம்பிக்கையை மட்டும் வச்சுட்டு சந்தேகத்தை விட்டுலாம் நினைக்காதீங்க, சந்தேகத்தை மட்டும் வச்சுட்டு நம்பிக்கை விட்டுலாம் நினைக்காதீங்க. ரெண்டையும் சரண்டர் பண்ணிடுங்க. சரண்டர் பண்ணா மட்டும்தான் நிஜமான ஞானம் கிடைக்கும். அதான் ஒரே வழி. நான் நினைக்கிறேன் இந்த கேள்வி ஆல் ரைட். கேள்வி கேட்டவங்களுக்கு நேரம் பதில் புரிஞ்சிட்டு இருக்கும். நெக்ஸ்ட்.
In the master-disciple relationship, does the master relationship continue through several cycles of life and death till the Buddha becomes Buddha?
Read aloud.
In the master-disciple relationship, over several cycles of life and death, does it continue over several cycles of life and death till the Buddha becomes a Buddha?
Yes, it just continues. Next. Okay. Next.
The same question Buddha and Buddha Swami, it continues. Does the master take over the responsibility for converting the Buddha into Buddha? After that I can't do that.
Unreadable language.
Or is it the onus on the Buddha to realize the state of that he is already a Buddha?
When a master takes responsibility, that path is called surrender. When a disciple takes responsibility, that is called self-effort. Usually, always it happens through both. Some places master takes the responsibility, some places disciple takes the responsibility. It's like a disciple, master lifts the disciple, but disciple has to give at least a hand to be lifted. Sometimes when I lift the people, they work against me. Not only they don't give their hand, they try to move further aside that side. So disciple has to take at least that much responsibility to feel that master is taking the responsibility. Master takes the responsibility. Disciple should take the responsibility of just understanding that master has taken my responsibility. That much responsibility which the disciple takes, that's enough. Master takes the responsibility. All disciple has to do is only one thing. He has to understand that master has taken the responsibility. To understand that much, he has to take responsibility. That much if he takes responsibility, that's enough. Else will be taken care. Next.
You said, why should we come down? Come down from where? Is it a place or is it a state? Can all reach this space or is it the realm of the masters?
If you have come down, can't you reach that space? You have only come down, so you can actually reach that space. If you say only masters can reach that place, if you say you have come down from that place, then you are also master. You can reach. Be very clear. If you have come down from that place, you can reach there. If you say it is master's place, then you are also master. So naturally, from where you came down, you can reach that place. So don't bother whether it is only master's place or disciple's place. If you come down from there, you can always reach there. You must be having your passport. Now you may have visa for this plane. Look back. Don't just get stuck with the visa paper. You fellows are only seeing the visa paper because you are continuously bothered about your job. Did I come in H1? Did I come in this visa, that visa? You are continuously bothered about your visa. Why? Because you are bothered about your job. But if you forget about your job, instead of visa sheet, you will start seeing the other sheets also. Then you will see your passport, you will understand your nationality, you will understand your origin, and you will go back to that origin. That's why I say first, drop the attachment to your purpose of taking visa. Then naturally you will see the other pages where the visa stamp is not there. Now your whole eyes are stuck only with that page in which your visa stamp is printed. So use little brain. If you relax, If your attachment for the purpose of visa is moved, naturally you start seeing the other pages also. What is this? There are some more pages in my being. Then you will suddenly realize your nationality, from where you come down. You will naturally fly back to the original place. Then you can understand whether it is master's plane or disciple's plane. Next.
This is something that you already covered, but again the question has come. Is there a code of conduct between the disciple and the master and vice versa? If it is, what are they?
I have no code of conduct. If you want, you have conduct. You keep it, that's all. I have no code of conduct. Master has no rules or regulation, code of conduct. In my system, I don't give code of conduct for disciples also. So do whatever you want, and whenever it is necessary, I will tell you directly. You see, there are two kinds of people who just curtail all your freedom and destroy you and work on you. Another kind of master who never gives you any rule, any regulation. Only gives you rule when you do a mistake. It's the second kind of management. You see, only when a rule is given at the time of mistake means how much of freedom you have, understand. There are some fellows, they are so afraid that you will do mistakes, they will keep you in the room and lock you. The whole freedom is taken away from you. That's one kind of system. Another kind of system, only when you do mistake the rule is given. Some people say what you should do. Some masters say what you should not do. I say only what you should not do. All other things you have freedom. You have your space. So I don't have anything like a special code of conduct. When you do some mistake, I'll just tell you. Today morning you're talking. Swamiji, you're all feeling really as a big group. Is it necessity? I tell you that is the real necessity. And I don't think the love amongst you is enough. And the love amongst the disciple is the real scale that you are growing. Loving me and respecting me is very easy. Seeing God in me is very easy. But loving others and respecting others is the real thing. When you respect your co-disciples, you respect me. Be very clear. Loving me is very easy. Every fellow will be standing in front of me and showing the teeth. That is very easy. That's not big thing. But show the same care, same love to your co-disciples, to your brother disciples. Only then you are growing. Only then you are growing. It is not big deal seeing me as a God. Seeing everyone, all the other disciples also as God only is the real thing.
Again, this is not related. Please explain Sri Chakram and why do we sit on it while meditating?
Sri Chakra is the pictorial representation of enlightenment. If you see that, so many complicated diagrams will be there inside. But if you have a little bit of patience and look into the relaxed way, it's a very simple diagram. Same way, enlightenment also, if you look superficially, it will be very complicated. If you look with little sincerity and relaxed way, the whole thing is simple. It is the pictorial representation of enlightenment. And it can be energized, those lines will hold energy. That's why you use that to sit on it. You can sit on it, it's like appetizer. When you don't feel hungry, you take appetizer. When you don't feel like meditating, if you sit on it, automatically you will start feeling like meditating. These are all instruments to put you into meditation. Next.
Can surrender be cultivated and how?
Only by love surrender can be cultivated. No other way. Consciously, every time you can tell your mind, that is also a path. But love is the direct path. The more you start feeling in tune with Master, falling in tune with Him, simply you will surrender. Surrender will start happening. Love is the only way to surrender. Once in a while when you are in difficulty, you can have your spiritual friends so that they remove those doubts and clear the problems and again tune you to the surrender.